Get your thoughts then, your initial thoughts on what we've seen in the United Kingdom. Have you changed your approach to UK assets as a result of this hung party? And if not yet, what are you looking for in the days ahead?
Yeah, pretty amazing outcome. I mean, lots of headlines. I think my favourite was an April gamble May pays for in June. Quite unexpected. I mean, we went into the election underweight UK equities versus Eurozone equities. We continue to maintain that position. We think that sterling in the near term could weaken below 125, continue the downtrend as the uncertainty around the coalition continues. However, on a more medium-term basis, we think the pound's very undervalued. A coalition will be formed. Brexit negotiations will start. And so we see the pound heading towards 130. And hence are underweight UK equities within our tactical asset allocation.
Simon, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the show. Anna and I've just been having a conversation about the potential outcomes. Today's quite an important day with Theresa May meeting the DUP, trying to put together the enough votes to carry her through to the start of Brexit. Professor Jonathan Tong said to us, look, the DUP will be drinking in a politically free bar, but when they do a deal with the Tories, they can be quite reliable in terms of once they do a deal, once they squeeze the pips, that they will be a reliable boyfriend, so to speak, to pull on the Bank of England metaphor. Would that give you a little bit more comfort on the UK story if there was some kind of robustness demonstrated over the next couple of months in Parliament?
Well, I think, first of all, we've got to keep in context just how rare hung parliaments actually are. Between the Great Depression and 2010, we only had one. That was 1974, and the coalition lasted a year. We then had the 2010 coalition with the Liberal Democrats. Clearly, that didn't end up well for that party in the most recent election. And so it isn't, I would argue, it's not a trivial coalition negotiation with the DUP that Theresa May has to go through. That being said, we do think a coalition will be reached. However, that doesn't make the Brexit negotiations any easier. And so our expectation, I think, along with much of the market, is that the Brexit negotiations will continue to be difficult. The UK does not have a strong bargaining position, and particularly now that the sweeping mandate that Theresa May was looking for has not arisen. So looking at that political uncertainty, but also looking at the economic outlook. You've got Eurozone PMIs at 7-year highs. At the same time, the UK PMIs are rolling over. You look at earnings momentum, very much in favour of the Eurozone versus the UK, a stark contrast to a year ago. So for us, it's a pretty safe bet, in our view, to be overweight Eurozone equities and underweight UK equities. Again, though, we do think the pound is oversold at these levels. It may go lower, but if it does, a buying opportunity.
A buying opportunity. We'll see what comes out of those talks today. Maybe not a coalition, but maybe a confidence and supply arrangement. Talking about the Brexit conversation then, Simon, Theresa May yesterday, we're reporting, is willing to have a sort of rethink and look for a national consensus on Brexit. That's got lots of people in the markets talking about the possibility of a softer Brexit. Does a softer Brexit excite you, or does that sound like a wish list of sort of have your cake and eat it type demands that the rest of the EU is never going to agree to anyway? What are your thoughts on the soft Brexit idea?
Well, part of the difficulty here is you've got one party negotiating against 27, and particularly when one looks at the politics this year. I mean, it's almost amazing to talk about Eurozone politics being a relatively stable and positive force for markets. But you've had 3 regional elections go in the favour of Chancellor Merkel. September looks like she will clearly, at this stage, be voted back in. French politics has been very market-friendly. First, President Macron being voted in, and then the elections over last weekend suggesting a sweeping majority should next weekend go according to plan. Even the Italian election being put off most likely to next year, and a relatively market-favourable outcome over the weekend. So with a relative strengthening of the core and alignment of the core between Macron and Merkel in the Eurozone, vis-a-vis the relatively fractured politics in the UK. Yeah, I think these arguments about whether the UK wants a soft Brexit or a hard Brexit probably miss the fact that Europe is in a very strong position in these negotiations.